Now, from Into Tomorrow, this is an ITTV special report.
How can games help improve your health? Well, if you're an avid listener of Into Tomorrow, you heard us broadcasting for the Games for Health conference in Boston last year. Rumor has it we'll be back again this year, so you certainly want to stay tuned for that. Well, the Games for Health project is dedicated to promoting and using technology, especially as it relates to gaming, to help get you more active. And isn't that a good thing? As you've heard us scream on the air a couple of times, get outside, do something. And sometimes we all need to be reminded of that. Well, the co-founder for the Games for Health project is with us again, Ben Sawyer. Ben, welcome back Into Tomorrow. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. It's always good to get out to this conference. It's one of my favorite of the year.
For sure. And of course, in your environment of really looking at gaming from a whole different perspective, this has got to be a plethora of good information and great networking opportunities, I would guess.
Absolutely. I mean, the Game Developers Conference is always, every year, about making better games. And from a serious games perspective, using games for things besides just entertainment, Games for Health being one of those outputs, games to help improve your health or improve the delivery of health and healthcare. We need to make great games too. And so GDC is always about making better games. We come and we learn from the best and the brightest who are here, and then we take those technologies and those techniques and then put them into our more applied practices of serious games and Games for Health.
And I can imagine some of our listeners thinking, serious games. Well, I'm a serious gamer, so isn't that the same thing? But it's not quite the same thing when you talk serious games in this capacity, right?
Sure. I mean, I'm a serious gamer, too. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't love video games. The serious and serious games is sort of just a colloquial way of saying to people who don't take games seriously like most of us. Yeah. Now most of us, right? It used to just be some of us. Now it's most of us. That there's some really, applied purposes to life that we can put these games to use for. We can use it to train the next generation of doctors. We can use it to motivate you and your kids to exercise in a more fun and active atmosphere. We can use it to improve how you might train for your next job. The power and the engagement of video games shouldn't be lost on anybody who doesn't game. I mean, just look at your friends and your family members who do. I think we're past the point where people see games as this sort of trivial object. It's a mass media form now.
Yeah.
And so now, why shouldn't we take advantage of this and use it to spread fun and engagement and incredible technologies and use this for things that go beyond just what we try to do with our weekends or after work. I'm all for fun. We wouldn't be people if we didn't enjoy fun. That's a serious pursuit of life, and under that guise, all games are serious. But I love the fact that the people who make some of my favorite games can also help me make and solve real-world problems that I'm dealing with and that many of your listeners are too.
Good points, by all means. And, of course, one of the many reasons you're here is the Serious Games Summit. Now, how does that differ from some of the other things going on this week at GDC?
So GDC, about 10 years ago, started adding tutorials and summits. This used to be a 3-day conference. And as you started having things like casual games and indie games and now social games and iPhone and Android and mobile games, they started realizing that there were these communities, much like the serious games community, that needed to have their own sort of space where they could collectively pull together as a community and go into their specific needs. We're all here to make better games, and there's ways to do that really speak to any kind of game. But then there are some specifics to a serious game or a casual game or an indie game or a Facebook game. And so the first 2 days of the conference, which is now a week long, are devoted to these summits. And the summits really serve an interesting purpose because it's not just about the knowledge. It's about the communities and the fact that we get to come together and really collectively decide, like, where should our community go? What's the state of best practices? Who can help who? What's the latest story? And so they're family reunions within the larger family reunion of GDC. And so they're wonderful catalysts. I don't think people realize how much this conference serves as a catalyst for all these different areas, much like they do with the IGF, the Independent Games Festival, that doing these things and bringing people together this way really does change the output that you get out of developers. And so that's what the Serious Games Summit is devoted to, the serious games portion of the industry. And it's been a major, major catalyst to the growth of that side of things.
Ben, have you been able to find a lot of these serious games and that whole perspective of improving one's health and helping us to be more active here at GDC?
Yeah, actually, I mean, of course, one of the big stories out of this year's GDC is Sony's Move product came out.
A lot more than just the name. It actually has you moving, thus the idea.
Exactly. And so, and then also, you know, what we've seen with some of the 3D graphics where there's actual depth perception, you know, some of the stuff I've seen in the Intel booth does that. I could think of like how we're using those technologies exist because gamers will buy them, but I can then use those technologies to create new visualizations for doctors at a fraction of the price that technology cost them before, because gamers, by buying it in mass volume, are subsidizing that. So now we can use that for new ways. So this conference just resets us every single year. That's why it's always so exciting. It's the kickoff to a lot of conferences all spring long in the games and technology industry, and it's amazing to watch this industry reinvent itself each year. And then my job's to take that elsewhere and reinvent all these other areas: health, healthcare, education, science, government, business. And that's pretty exciting.
And, of course, you'll be doing that, reinventing a lot of that cool stuff at your Games for Health conference coming up in May. And we hope to bring that to our audience as well. Something else to look forward to, and that whole different take on the importance of gaming in our society. 2
full days, all about games that can improve health and healthcare delivery, personal health. It's pretty amazing. Nobody thought that, 5 years ago, nobody thought those were the types of things we'd be doing with games. This has been one of the biggest years in health with EA Sports Active and We Fit. So we've got great examples.
Dynamite. Gamesforhealth.org and SeriousGames.org. Both sites jam-packed with all kinds of information that Ben's been talking about. You want to visit both sites. We'll link you there when you hit us up at IntoTomorrow.com. Look for the broadcast for this weekend from the Game Developers Conference. Ben, thanks for spending a few minutes with us. We'll look forward to chatting again in May.
Thank you.
Back with more from San Francisco. I'm Dave Graveline. This is Into Tomorrow. You don't want to miss a minute of today's broadcast.